Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So the Tarot Readathon has just finished. I had a wonderful time participating. It was super fun to pull cards and then let fate kind of guide my TBR. I was team wands and had a really fun time. I ultimately finished 6 books in these 2 weeks, and I pulled 6 cards and found books for each of those prompts. So the first 3 cards that I drew were the 8 of Cups, which the prompt was read a book with an absent parent or an absent significant other. The second card I drew was the Lovers, which is a book that features a romance. The third card I drew was the Queen of Pentacles, which is read a book with a strong female protagonist. So those were the 3 prompts that I started out with. I vlogged a little wrap up of each book that I read throughout the readathon, and that is what is in this video. So stay tuned to hear about the books that I read during this readathon, and feel free to check out the timestamps down in the description. Thanks. Hi, so I just finished Wayward Son by Rowell, which is the second book in the Simon Snow series. This was for the Tarot Readathon, my 8 of Cups prompt, which the prompt was read a book with an absent parent or significant other. And Simon Snow does not have parents, so that's why I chose that book. I was really excited to read this book because the third book in the series just came out very recently, and I bought it, and I've been really waiting to dive into it, but I wanted to reread book 2 because I didn't really remember much of it. Though actually, now that I finished the book, I actually did remember a lot of it. The parts of this book that I kept waiting for were the ones, it was actually like a fair bit. Like, I was kind of surprised as I went through how much of it I remembered. And all the parts that I was eagerly anticipating were the parts that I liked the best again this time. So the premise of this book is that it's after the end of the first book, where Simon and his friends have saved the world and saved magic. And so now what do you do after you've saved the world? So the 3 of them decide to go on a road trip across America, and sort of the hijinks that they get up to in that book, or on that adventure. So I did like this book. It definitely felt, both the first time I read it and this time, as if it was very much so like a middle book of a series. Like, yes, it has its own plot, but like kind of comes a bit later in the book, and so you're just kind of ambling along. And if you like a road trip kind of theme, then great. But if you don't, which sometimes I can be less thrilled with a road trip, it is great fun. I do like the continuation of the friendships. I like that we get to see, I feel like Baz is a little bit softer than he was in the first book. I feel like Simon kind of has some intention throughout this book and grows back into himself. And I really like how Penny's kind of going through something, and we pick up a new character. So I am excited to jump into the third book. This was mostly a reread, but I did feel like it fit the prompt because Simon does not have parents, and that is me checking in, and I'm going to go log it for the points. So I just finished the ebook of In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens. This is a young adult fantasy. We follow Prince Taliesin. He is going on a tour of his kingdom, sort of his like coming of age event. He meets a mysterious stranger who dives into the sea, presumably to his death. And then that stranger shows back up a little bit later. And Prince Tal, is, I don't think this is much of a spoiler to say that he is kidnapped, and then he is drawn into this like political elements about these schemes that are happening, and like why he's being held for ransom or by these pirates, or like what's happening. I like this book. That was not a very good synopsis, but I like this book. I enjoyed it. It's very plot heavy. It's very driving forward, which was enjoyable because that is a very, like makes it a page turner. And I was never bored. I was pulled along very well. I do I did feel a little bit like that meant that this was not, like, that just meant that there was too much crammed in. I wanted a little bit more time to kind of get to know the characters and to kind of feel out this world a little bit. And I, there's a couple times when a character has to like process some emotions or trauma or whatever's happening, and I felt like that had to happen like on the go, and I would have liked to have kind of steeped into those emotions a little bit. Maybe that's just sort of a little bit of a difference between an adult fantasy versus a young adult fantasy, but it was still cute and I liked it. One of my favorite parts was the family dynamics. Tal, his family is very caring and they are like funny and bantering, and you know, they really care about Tal and they really care about each other, and I thought that was great. And then I also like that just inherently in this world there is not seeming to be much of like a patriarchy or minimal misogyny, and like heteronormativity is not really expected. It's not the norm, because there is discussion about it's very open about, you know, there's women in power who are good, there's women in power who are bad. His sister is going to be the next ruler because she's the firstborn, and there was multiple people who were mentioned to have multiple preferences in their sexuality or same-sex marriages, and I thought all of that was really great, but I wanted a smidgen more from this world, so I think I will ultimately give this book like a 4 stars just because I really enjoyed it. But I want to see if this author's going to come out with more in this world. Okay, it's late. I look like crap. I don't know why I look so yellow in this shot, but anyway, I I just finished If She Says Yes by Tasha L. Harrison. I think that's her name. I didn't really like it that much. The premise was good. The premise of this book is that the main male character, it's an age gap romance, interracial romance. The main male character is 32. He has had a long time crush on his best friend's mother. And then over the weekend that his best friend is getting married, he sort of is in charge of taking care of his best friend's mom. And he takes that very seriously. And so they have this like whirlwind weekend of the rehearsal and the wedding, etc., etc. And it's what happens over the course of their relationship. For me, it just wasn't really enough time to have a relationship start. I mean, to start, sure, but to like get all the way to like a I love you stage was not enough for me. Also, the main male character, Tomas, he brought these years and years of like pining and feelings for Darcy to this weekend and to their relationship. And so, I mean, that's fine and it can work, but like I wanted an opportunity to like Darcy without Tomas. I wanted an opportunity to see Darcy from Tomas's point of view in a neutral light, or like pre him falling for her. And we don't see that because he already has feelings for her. And so it just, I don't know, it was good. It was steamy, but like overall, I just didn't feel like it was a great romance. And I am not going to spoil anything here, but I did not like the end. Felt like it dodged a big bullet. Like it just kind of was like, we're just not gonna deal with this whole thing. Okay, cool. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll just skip it then, whatever, that's fine. So yeah, I don't know, this one just wasn't really it for me. I would try another one by this author though. Hi guys, sorry for this weird camera angle. I have never tried to do this kind of thing before, and I kind of rigged my phone up weird. But anyway, I wanted to do a unboxing of these recent tarot cards that I purchased. I actually purchased them in June before the start of the readathon, but they took forever to get here. But that's okay, because I finished my first couple prompts and it is time actually to draw a new card for my next prompt. So this box I got off of Etsy. I can potentially let you know if you want to know the link. But it is a Rider-Waite tarot deck, and they are these cool, like, holographic looking. They're not really that holographic, but they kind of have this, these dots on them that make it kind of look like that's an effect. And it came with a little instruction booklet as well. So let's spread them out. So far, the imagery that I'm seeing is very typical of the Rider-Waite images. So let's shuffle so that I can draw for my next prompt. Okay, I have shuffled these 7 times. That's one of my favorite numbers and a number I usually pick when I choose numbers 1 through 10, and I felt like that was a good number to shuffle this brand new ordered deck. So I will cut the deck, and I cannot see, though you probably can see this card. The winning card is the 9 of Wands. Very appropriate considering I am Team Wands. I'm going to go ahead and choose a second card just because I don't know if I will have an opportunity to get to another prompt, but I want to have another prompt ready just in case. The card is the 4 of Swords. So there you have it. My next 2 prompts are the 9 of Wands and the 4 of Swords. The next card that I drew from my tarot readathon is the 9 of Wands, which stands for resilience and perseverance and persistence and kind of some struggle you have to go through. So the prompt is to read a book with a resilient character. So I chose a book that was already on my TBR, and that is a cozy mystery titled No Good Tea Goes Unpunished. Author is Bree Baker. I listened to this on an audiobook. I did sort of go into this with the hope that the main character was going to be resilient, but my understanding of the cozy mystery genre did not lead me astray. So the plot of this book is that we follow Everly. She is a iced tea maker. She owns her own little cafe in this small town in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, I think. And yes, that is her job. She runs this cafe, and she makes tea, and that's all the books have to do with tea. And the name of this town is called Charm. Anywho, there has been a murder right at the start because she is helping to host a wedding and reception, and after the bride and groom cut the cake, the groom and bride both disappear for a little bit, and so everyone's like, wonder where they went. And then the groom's body is found face down in the water. He has been stabbed, and so he is dead. And then the rest of this book is trying to figure out who done it. The main character, Everly, is resilient because, as the few other cozy mysteries I have read showed, she decides that she is the one who should be able to bust open this case, not the like swoon-worthy cowboy detective. Yeah, he's working on it too, but obviously it's going to be Everly, our cafe owner with the beekeeping ants, who is going to bust the whole case wide open and do all the detective work. So she does prove to be resilient throughout the course of the book as she becomes a target for the perpetrator. And she has to be resilient in the face of being scared off multiple times and also eventually being actually physically attacked. So I don't know if my tone has given any of it away, but to me, this is just not the genre for me. I've tried it a couple different times, and I always just feel like why would the plucky iced tea making like young woman think that she can be a detective better than anybody else? It just doesn't really make any sense. And I find it really more annoying than like tension building that every other chapter something is revealed and she's like, well, actually, I think it's this new person. Or not a new person, but like she moves her guess from person to person as she's trying to figure this out. And it just feels like, not that those characters aren't potentially good suspects, but it's just like that doesn't drive the plot forward for me. And the whole thing also is like laced with these like weird subplots of like her aunts who are beekeepers who are trying to like film themselves so they can be part of a documentary. And like she kind of has this blooming romantic interest with the detective guy, which was fine. But then she also, like, her ex comes back into town, and we also spend some time with the best friend who runs these little free libraries. And I was just like, I didn't care about any of those subplots. Oh, hi, Kat. And I just felt like it detracted from the overall plot, which was not exactly like thrilling. And I guess it was like mysterious in that I didn't really know who done it until the end, and it is resolved. But it just like I don't really care. I just didn't really care that much. So I think for what it is a good cozy mystery, and I think it was like well enough written that I hadn't figured it out ahead of time. But I did feel like there was a little too much going on, and that I wasn't really just that interested. But I think that's more of a me thing, not a quality of the book thing. So probably as a book in and of itself, it was probably a solid 3.5 stars, 4 stars. For me and my personal enjoyment of it was like a 2.5 star, just kind of like middle of the road. Probably will not be memorable. So there's that. But at least I got a prompt fulfilled for my tarot card of the 9 of Wands. All right, so I'm here to kind of wrap up the Tarot Readathon. This is my kind of vlog, or where I have discussed each of the books that I have read for the Tarot Readathon. The next one I have to talk about was the 4 of Swords card, which the prompt was to read a guilty pleasure. I don't really have like guilty pleasures as such, just because I don't generally feel any shame about anything that I'm reading, but I chose a romance novel for this just because I think there are people who consider that genre to be like a guilty pleasure. So the book that I read for this prompt was Down to Ash by Melissa Blue. This book, so the summary is that we follow Victor and Ashley. Victor is like a bomb tech veteran, and Ashley is his brother's little sister, or his best friend's little sister. Sorry, this has the like brother's best friend trope because Victor is Ash's brother's best friend. So interestingly, this book kind of starts off with the two of them kind of finally giving in to this lust that has been simmering between the two of them for a long time. And then we kind of work backwards as they try to figure out the emotional side of things and whether or not this is going to be a real relationship, or if this was sort of a one or a couple times thing. And the problem is that they have this, mutual friend group, and the brother slash best friend, that is something, Victor like broke the bro code by sleeping with Ashley, and Ash is kind of like, that's dumb. But also Ash is not willing to like think that this is like true love. So I don't know, this had a lot of tropes, some of which I don't super love because they're sort of childhood friends to lovers. The brother's best friend, I can get behind, but like I felt like this whole like, you broke the bro code, you ruined, like you broke Porter's heart, was just like too much. I don't know, it just was like overdone for me. There's a lot of pining and angst in this book, which sometimes was good and sometimes was like kind of annoying. And also Victor does this thing where he like pushes Ash away for her own good, and that just can sometimes really annoy me. It was definitely steamy, but this book did not like work for me. I think a lot of it came down to the writing style. I think that because there was a lot of like questioning whether or not they should be together, that between each character, and because there was a lot of like, how does the other person really feel, it really just felt like too choppy, and I felt that there were certain paragraphs where people would start saying, well, this is how I feel, but da 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 da, and then they would end the paragraph being like, so da 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 da, and it was like, okay, and it like, I didn't feel like the like tension was warranted in a lot of cases, and like the writing style didn't work for me. My ebook had a lot of like typos and, you know, like just like copy edit issues that were like too many for me to kind of forgive, and I didn't really feel like there was the on-page emotional development, which I love, because Vic has always had a thing for Ash, and so he just like starts the book already like kind of in love with her. So I don't know, this book just like didn't really work for me. I thought the friend group was great. I thought the found family aspect was great. I felt like the PTSD element from Vic was like handled seriously and well. I cannot speak to the accuracy of that, but I don't know, for me, like, this book was perfectly fine, but I was glad it was as short as it was, because it just didn't really work that well for me. Because I had that on ebook, I had the last couple days of the readathon with like an audiobook slot available. So I did pick another tarot card, but did not record it. And that was the Two of Wands, which was perfect because that prompt was to continue a series that you have already started. And so I read the next book in the Simon Snow series, which is the third book, which just came out at the top of the month. And so the third book is Anyway the Wind Blows by Rowell. This is the third Simon Snow book. I think it's the last book. This book did it for me. It was awesome. I think that like by the time I was done writing my review, I thought the 5 stars was a little too generous. It's probably closer to like a 4.5. But I just was so excited to dive back into this cast of characters. In this book, it's the third book, so we're following our characters as they come. Book 2 was like an American adventure road trip, and book 3, they're all come back to England, and all of our characters kind of go their own separate ways. We have like 3 different plot lines that are happening. Penny and Shepherd are trying to figure out how to like cure or break the curse on Shepherd, and I thought that plotline was interesting. I was engaged. I thought that it was like clever. I enjoyed their like banter back and forth, and the little mini adventures like that they went on. Obviously they develop an attraction, which I thought was perfectly fine, and I ultimately enjoyed the resolution. It was not like, and they get married at the end, but so there's still some resolution that needs to happen, but like I liked how they took care of Shepherd's issue, or tried to. And then the strongest / best element of this whole book, it's everything that Laura wants, because Simon and Baz are doing like sort of their plot line, and this book is them communicating. It is them being vulnerable with each other. It is them trying to connect and to just be that emotional, like try to be what the other one needs. And so it was just that development was there. It was like, I think I tweeted something about like how this is reading like a fan fiction, because you just don't usually see this amount of like, let's talk about our issues and like work through our issues. I feel like you don't really see that in a lot of books that I'm reading anyway, and that feels like a very like I psychoanalyze these characters and now I'm gonna just like write all of the feels in these scenes. And so there is like an almost like, I wouldn't say it dragged on because I was loving every second of it, but there was definitely a lot of pages dedicated to Simon and Baz trying to make their relationship work, and I was there for every step of it. Their particular plotline was interesting. I was intrigued. I felt like it was overall just like a smidgen, I don't want to say weak, because, you know, it doesn't, I don't know, it sort of felt like it ended a little bit on a fizzle instead of like a bang. I was also listening to it really quickly, so I don't know, maybe like I don't know, just I wish there was just a smidgen more oomph to it, because we definitely end the first book on a bang, and then there's so much action and plot in this book too, and so this one had action and plot, but like it didn't have like a grand finish, in my opinion. That could have had just a smidgen more. And then for me, the third plot line was just kind of the weakest, with Agatha and Neve and like the goats. I just felt like there was something that never didn't get quite resolved, almost as if stuff had gotten edited out. Don't know if that's true, but I just would have liked a little bit more discussion on Agatha and her sort of character arc. It didn't feel like it like finish successfully, or I guess I wanted like a little self-reflection on Agatha's part as to where she ends up. So anywho, loved this book, loved listening to it, so happy I have like finished, I'm current with the series. I felt like it was pretty good resolution. We still have some open-ended questions at the end of the book, so I guess there's room for more in the series, but like I don't think there's plans for more in the series. But I'm going to go ahead and give Any Way the Wind Blows 5 stars, even if it's probably actually like a 4.5 stars. So that is everything for my tarot readathon. I was so happy to participate in this readathon. It was really fun to like pull cards and try to explore the meanings of those cards, as well as use the prompts to help guide what books I was going to read. Ultimately, in summary, I read 6 books for 6 different cards, and that was a total of 2,002 pages, which I am pleased with because that's a fair chunk of pages to get through in 2 weeks. So I would definitely look forward to participating in this readathon again. I am excited to continue learning more about tarot, and my pretty deck came in, which I showed in my clip. So now I'm gonna actually have like decent quality cards to work with. So yeah, I was really glad that I participated in this readathon, and I like all of the hosts, and our team did not as well as it could have, but we did a good job, and I definitely would participate in the tarot readathon again. If you participated in the tarot readathon and you did any sort of content or vlog or whatever about it, please leave that down in the comments. I would love to see what some other people did and what they used their cards as inspiration for. That's like one of the best parts about this readathon. If you have read any of the books that I mentioned today, also like leave what you thought about them down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye! The plot of this book is that we follow, oh gosh, what's her name?